Here is a story from my childhood. I was about 10 at that time. One day, I was walking home after school with my mother, chattering away as usual. Suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I sensed a miniature, meek figure wobbling towards me. Before I knew it, something furry but bony had collapsed on my feet. It was a kitten. I completely melted. It was so weak it could barely mew, and its mother was nowhere in sight. My mother said, "Don't touch it. It's too ill." Somehow she dragged me home. I started weeping. Mom began to lecture. It's easy to demand a kitten, but very difficult to care for one. It's a huge responsibility and expense, and it's going to take up a lot of your time. We already have one cat. Haven't you seen how much effort it takes to raise him? To that, my answer was ready. Mom, I'm not asking you to take care of him forever. Let's just bring him home until his condition improves. We'll send him to an animal shelter later. How would you feel if you were left to die on the streets? That worked. So, we called an animal shelter and asked if they would accept such a kitten. They agreed. Then we went back and brought the kitten home. In the evening, though, we noticed that the little guy was having difficulty breathing. We took him to the vet. He was put on a nebulizer, but was still suffocating. With a few syrups and drops, his condition improved for a few hours, but then, yet again, he started having the same problem. We rushed him to the vet again. This time, he took an X-ray. Bad news. The kitten had a disease called diaphragmatic hernia. In DH, the diaphragm is torn, and so the organs in the abdominal cavity move up to the lungs. As a result, the animal cannot breathe. This requires surgery. The kitten was too small and too weak for a surgery. The doctor said, "You will have to keep him under family care and not give him away to an animal shelter. It's difficult to say how long he'll survive." The next day, at about 2 in the afternoon, the kitten started screeching. He had come out of his basket and was trying to walk along the wall. He was falling and trying to get up again and again. He could not stay steady. My mother said he was dying. He was retching, so she took him to the washroom. He peed a little and collapsed on the floor. After about 5 minutes, he died in my mother's hands. We buried him under this chiku tree. Back then, of course, I had no idea what animal welfare was. I was merely trying to protect a helpless animal. But the incident got me thinking, what rights do stray animals really have? Is it even possible to provide all of them health care? My housing society has at least 5 stray cats. They lead to several issues. A majority of the members feel they're a nuisance. I've been to a housing society with a notice board that reads, "Feeding stray cats is strictly prohibited." But can a housing society make such a rule? Doesn't it go against the general norm of kindness towards animals? Our lane has at least 20 stray dogs. When they all start barking collectively in the middle of the night, it ruins our sleep. It's quite obvious that this is not how things are supposed to be. Who is then responsible for these creatures? The government or us? The more I Googled, the more I realized that this is a complicated business. Some countries run sanctuaries for their stray animals and try to manage their problems. Other countries are still struggling to find solutions that work for them. Photojournalist Erica Hobart reports that in Morocco, an African underdeveloped country, there are 3 million stray dogs today. Rabies is widespread in the dog population. At least 80 people die each year of rabies. It has become a menace. Volunteers like her are doing their bit, but the state is not able to control the population without shooting dogs. On the other hand, in the Netherlands, a developed European country, animals are deeply cared for. The Dutch have done three things. They've invested in public awareness in a big way. For over a century and a half, voluntary organizations have been sensitizing ordinary citizens, lobbying with the government for better laws, and chasing businesses for better practices. A series of laws have been made and revised from time to time through public debate to address the problems of animals in different sectors. The country has also established an active mechanism for implementation of those laws. Today, the laws recognize animals as individuals with inherent dignity and fundamental rights. The Netherlands has become the first country to have completely eliminated stray dogs. How did they do it? Not with culling or euthanasia. They did several things. They started a CNVR, a collect, neuter, vaccinate, and return program, a nationwide government-funded initiative in which the citizens participated. They increased the taxes on store-bought dogs. This encouraged people to adopt homeless, rescued dogs. They also put in place an animal police force to monitor crimes against stray animals. That's incredible work. World Animal Protection is a leading organization for animal welfare. They publish the Animal Protection Index periodically, which ranks countries on a scale of A to G. The Netherlands had a B in the Animal Protection Index of 2020. India had a C in this index, and Morocco had an F. To use just two small points for comparison, if Morocco has 3 million street dogs, India has 30 million, according to a BBC report. Secondly, animal abuse in the Netherlands is punished with imprisonment and a fine of about 17,000 euros. In comparison to that, the Indian law, the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960, levies a fine of 10 to 50 rupees for a first offense and up to 100 rupees for subsequent offenses. We have a long way to go. The next time you step out of your house, do watch out for stray or abandoned animals. The ones you will meet are just a few from among an estimated population of 1 billion stray animals around the world. Still, for a 7.9 billion human population, it's not impossible to take care of all of them. I hope that in the 21st century, humanity will be able to achieve that target. Meanwhile, let us celebrate that somewhere here in Mumbai, a rescued puppy with legs injured in a road accident has been adopted by a family and is now a cheerful young dog. A kitten who wandered into a housing society 6 years ago has been raised by 2 families into a healthy and happy cat. Thank you.